Okay, this is our story. Once upon a time, there was a little girl. Oh, come on. Come back in the house. Charlotte, come on. Okay, close the door so he can't get back out. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a little girl that lived in an abandoned house, and she had 3 teeth.
The little girl was 4 years old. Last week she lost 1 tooth, and now she has 2 teeth.
This girl's name was Abigail. She didn't eat any food this morning.
Your turn.
And it's Lizzie's turn.
And the reason why she didn't eat any food this morning is because there was no one home at her house. That's sad. And the reason why there was no one home at her house because they were all out foraging in the woods trying to find something to capture to come home and make food for Abigail.
Abigail was waiting around for 7 hours straight. She finally started eating wood. Then her parents came home with a rabbit.
And then she didn't want to eat the wood anymore because it tasted terrible and there was a rat.
The rabbit was still alive, and Abigail cried and cried and cried and told her parents, I don't want you to kill Larry.
Larry was her pet bunny. They were actually at home the whole entire time. She was asleep, having a dream.
What?
Yep.
What?
Okay, not...
Okay.
Okay.
Do something with that.
Actually, she wasn't having a dream. It was real. And with her pet bunny about to be killed and eaten, she tried to convince her parents not to, but when she fainted on the ground, her parents cooked the bunny. And she fainted from, what is it? Dehydration.
And as Abigail lay on the ground, suffering from dehydration and sadness, her parents cooked Larry. They also found her pet squirrel that she had played with all these forest animals. And she had a pet squirrel named Oscar. And she had a wild boar named Beauregard. And she also had a pigeon, and his name was Ducky. And they killed and cooked all these wild animals that were her pets. And when Abigail woke up, she called 911 and reported them to the sheriff's department.
After she called 911, the police came over and started laughing.
They were doing that because they thought that her complaint was really pathetic and she didn't know anything about federal law.
And in closing, they sat down and had dinner with the parents. And they ate Beauregard and said that he was mighty tasty, especially his hooves, the hoof soup, with the grains of dirt in them as you drink the juice. And Oscar tasted mighty tasty. And what was his name?
Ducky.
And Ducky. Ducky was a little tart. And the female officer actually didn't like Ducky because she said she actually didn't know Ducky was a pigeon. She thought Ducky was really a duck. And when she found that it was a pigeon, she spit it out.
After the police officer spit it out, she corrected herself and said, oh, that's a pigeon, and she put it right back in her mouth.
Okay, what Alex just said didn't make any sense, but after she swallowed it, she threw up on the ground, and then she was taken to the hospital.
She was taken to the hospital, And ultimately, her fellow officers came back and arrested the parents because something else the parents had placed in there was a pufferfish, which is poisonous. And since they didn't know how to cook it properly, you're supposed to prepare pufferfish really delicately. And they threw the pufferfish in as a delicacy and as a seasoning, special seasoning, and it was a special seasoning. It made all of the officers sick. It made her husband sick. She got sick. And Abigail was the only one who didn't eat any of it. And she was laughing at all of them all the way to the hospital, and then she called her grandparents to come pick her up.
When she got picked up by her grandparents, she bought a new pet, and her grandparents cooked that pet for dinner.
When she was asleep, she fainted again from dehydration and then eventually died.
Abigail fainted and died dramatically, but she fainted
again.
But I thought you said she died and then fainted.
No, she fainted.
She fainted and died from dehydration, but I'm not understanding how she could faint and die from dehydration when she fainted. But anyway, in closing, again, Abigail was a sad little girl with 3 teeth, and then she lost another one and she had 2. And the moral to this story is,
don't be homeless.
Run away from home if you have crazy parents. And don't go into the woods making pets out of wild animals and you know your parents hunt animals. And moral number 3,
don't be homeless.
Don't be homeless.
Yeah, that's the moral pretty much of the whole story.
Goodbye, everyone. I hope this story time has been entertaining.
And we wish you all a good night and tune in tomorrow for our next story. And we hope you sleep well. Good night, children.